go over that, over last month's minutes, read through them. If you have any changes, any issues, just reach out to Cheryl. And tonight, we have our budget report. So, Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. So with more than 66% of the budget year completed, revenues are almost 85%, expenses are a little more than 53%, so we are performing better than budgeted.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Council, you have any questions? Okay. And press and anybody in attendance regarding the budget. Okay. And tonight we'll have department updates from Fire Chief A.J. Schweitzer and also the Chief of Police, Brett Fisher. So if you guys are ready to do that.
Fire Chief?
All right, thank you, Council, for allowing me to come up here and give you guys an update for the 2024 year. It's been a very busy year within the department, and I'm just going to kind of go over the updates that we have for this year. In 2023, the department, it's on. The 2023 year, the department sat down and discussed some projects and goals that we want to get accomplished in the year 2024. So I'm going to go down those goals that we had set for ourselves and kind of just outline the importance of the goals and how they affect the department through the year. So the first thing was first due is a platform that the department uses, and that platform is for documenting calls, training, pre-planning, and permit use and activities that the department does throughout the year. And that documentation, at the very end of every year, we pull data from this cloud that allows us to kind of overall get a picture of what the department looks like year to year. We were utilizing 4 different types of platforms before first due, and it really became a time-consuming effort just to try to meet ends on the daily operations of the department. So we were doing paper and pen for like scheduling and notice of violations, inspections, and then we were using a program called emergency reporting, which was a inventory and a incident program that we would then import there, and then we use Freedom, which is the NOVs and the billing and all that. So we were using a whole lot of different platforms, and it was just way too time consuming. So First Due allows us to operate under one platform. So it gives us that ability to do training. Training in the year 2023 was not what we expected it to be. With the change of leadership, we had a different vision for the department, and we wanted to change that this first year as 2024. So we took the training and the hiring of the Deputy Chief, Jeff Campbell, really took on the training program and made it what it is today. The SOGs and policies, we completely went through the SOGs and policies of this year and changed them to meet some of the requirements that were needed to put in place, and one of them was the driver training program. We had a study done from VFIS and kind of just wanting us to change a couple different things that we do with our driver training program. So with that, we went through all of our policies and guidelines and reflected those changes in them. And then the last thing that we wanted to address was more of an administration thing, and that had to do with required operational permits. And refocusing on applying them to the jobs that are being done in the city and requiring the permits of when they're needed. Some department statistics, sorry, for the year of so far 2024. So call volume to date in the year 2024 is 1,225. In 2023, the same time, we were at 1,233. So we're on pace for around 1,700 again this year if things stay the way they are. Fire loss for the year 2024 right now is at $83,972, and this is information prior than the incident on Friday, so I do not have those numbers yet to calculate into 2024. And then 2023 to this day of last year would have been $665,447, and that was just before the big event at MedEd that cost millions of dollars in content loss. So hopefully we are below the projected number as we were last year, but time will tell with that. Training hours for the year 2023, and this is what I was talking about during the training program that we had implemented. Last year at this time, we were at 956 man hours. So not very good in my my view of what I want our training department to look like. This year, to date, we are at 4,210 man hours of training. So a huge difference there. The inspections for 2024 are 310 completed. In the year 2023 was 400 at this time. The reason why that is down is because of the changing to First Due. We had to allow the software programs to change and gather all of our data from ER, which is emergency reporting, and transfer it over to First Due, and that took about it was about 4 months. So we had a downtime there. So we were trying to play a little bit of catch up with that. Community events, it could have been back to school, fire education, fire prevention. That falls under the community event category, and that was roughly 40 hours to this day in 2024. Talk a little about First Due. Like I said, the First Due platform, it allows us to operate under one cloud, and it is stored in the cloud so that anybody is able to access it no matter where they're at. The biggest benefits to this First Due, in my eyes, is the versatility and the openness and the availability of information on scene, and the personnel that are using it with their tablets. All that information is right there at our fingertips, and we can utilize it to the best of our ability. First Due also has what they call a heat map. So this is just an outline of the city structure fires and where they're located. And this information is utilized for a couple different things. One could be future firehouse placement. One could be future fire apparatus placement as far as where we want to place apparatus throughout the city. So this kind of breaks that down and has us gather that data so that we can review that when the time is necessary. And then I also pulled up a heat map of the total incidents in 2024 and where that looks like in our city. So the yellow is 422, so Maple and Cumberland Street. So as of right now, we are west and a little north of the city as far as the areas of incidents that occur in the city. Just a quick touch base on, the training amount that we have done from 2023 to 2024, and this is just kind of outlines the training that the department has involved themselves in. I won't go down all of them, but it's just information as far as what we like to train on. A big step in 2024 that we had was community engagement. I sat down with the mayor, excuse me, at the beginning of 2024 and tried to figure out ways, excuse me, that we can get ourselves in the community and make an impact. And we felt that there was a couple different scenarios and a couple different things that we could venture into. And we decided to venture down the education route with community engagement with what they call a fire education house. Now, it looks like a bounce house, but it is by no means a bounce house. It is a inflatable house that divides itself into 3 separate rooms, providing fire education in each of those rooms. And those fire educations are an exit drill in your home, the importance of smoke detectors and placement of them, the importance of not having space heaters and heating objects located around combustible material, along with candles and kitchen safety. So this engages the kids to understand the importance of fire safety, but also is a learning and fun activity for them to keep them engaged. And then we are also able to fill this education house with fog, so it acts as a real-life scenario. If a kid would ever encounter smoke in their house, they would know the importance of getting down low, knowing their exit route of their home, and how important it is to have a plan in place for their family. The department also invested in a fire extinguisher prop that allows the community to understand the importance of how to use a fire extinguisher and the proper fire extinguisher to use depending on the fire that they are trying to put out. So we have also invested in that and are ready to use this in the community events so that we have a good understanding of education for them. And this is just kind of a display of what it's going to look like with that extinguisher trainer. It is worth noting the community fire safety props that we had purchased were all through by donations of these community supporters: the Frank Dixon Foundation, MedEd, Ron Sells, Brick Property Services, A&M Pizza, State Farm Office of Commissioner Bob Phillips, the Liberty Volunteer Fire Company, Lebanon Federal Credit Union, are just some of the community support that we got for these projects. Quickly, we want to touch base. Coming up October 6th through the 12th is Fire Prevention Week. The theme for this year is smoke detectors and making sure that we all know that they work. It is a very important part of fire safety, and it's a very important part of detecting fires at an early stage of their growth. With Fire Prevention Week, the City Fire Department has their annual open house on October 7th from 6 to 7:30, and this year we're going to do it at Fire Station Number 1, which is located at 700 South 8th Street. Years past, we did it at Station 2. This year, with the new community fire education props and the extinguisher, we wanted to give it enough space to be able to do them and hope that we have a good turnout. So we moved the location to Station 1.
Free food, so we're inviting all of you to attend.
Yep.
It'll probably be hot dogs, but
Thank you, Chief.
Are there any questions that I didn't cover
I
that
have
you
a
guys
couple.
had?
So first off, I just want to thank the donors to bring these training apparatus to the city. And then along those same lines, is the event on the 7th, is that the next time that the Bounce Training House is going to be available? Because I really want to take a look at this.
Yep, I believe that's going to be the next event. I know we're at the Harvest Festival. I believe it's the weekend after that, so it'll be out. We also have, we partnered up with the school district during the Fire Prevention Week. It's going to be at one of the elementary schools for 2 full days, going through that whole school with fire education and safety. So it'll be out a lot here in the next month.
That's awesome. So the one question that I had also regarding the differences in damages, do you feel like, so you said there was a couple fires that have not been accounted for yet for 2024. Right now, it looked like that was a significant difference between, was that year-to-date
2023.
overlay from 2023 to 2024?
Yeah, so the 2024 number is prior to the incident that happened on Friday, which I don't have the numbers exact, but I'm guesstimating somewhere around 200. It could be 250. I have to get with the insurance companies and see what the value loss is there. 2023, obviously, the MedEd substation that caught fire was millions of dollars of content loss. So in 2023, I think the total value of property and content was like $4.5 million, which was mainly from that MedEd substation fire. Where this year, I think we're on track to be somewhere around 300, as long as things stay the way they are.
And I'm trying to remember from previous department updates, is that trending normal, or, because
So,
obviously,
yeah.
I like that it's less, you know,
Right,
showing
yeah, so,
less,
statistics nationally, fire loss has been down since the 2000s. I mean, in the 90s, it's been high. 2000s, it's gradually gone lower. And even in the 2020 years, they are trending down as well. Obviously, last year was a unique situation with MedEd, and, you know, MedEd equipment does cost a lot of money, and, you know, we have to account for that in our content loss. So if that wouldn't have happened, we would have been on, you know, the trend down still. But I believe that's the involvement that departments have across the nation with fire prevention and fire safety has been really, really good, and I think that has a tall tale sign of the fire loss numbers, because we're getting them before they become an issue in people's properties.
yeah, for sure. Thank you. I think that that's all that I have. Council, do you guys have any questions?
Thank you.
Chief, one question I would have you seen any changes in cause of fires? I know in the past we've seen usually attributed to kitchen fires. Have you seen any changes over the past year?
No, kitchen fires still remain the #1 cause of structure fires. This year, especially, I'm going to contribute probably 75% of the fires this year were contributed to kitchen fires.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Chief.
Yep, you're welcome. Thank you.
Joe.
Thank you, Chief.
What is an SOG?
Standard operating guideline.
Guideline, thank you.
You're good? All right.
So the standard fire that we run to mostly is cooking. A lot of cooking mishaps, whether it's unattended cooking or they were cooking and they had a flare up and didn't know what to do. But cooking still remains the #1 cause for structure fires, not only in our city, but nationwide. It is the #1 cause of fires.
So have that fire extinguisher at easy access is what you're
Yep.
saying? Okay.
Having the fire extinguisher and knowing how to use it, making sure you're using the right fire extinguisher are all key factors in keeping yourself and your property safe.
Or you can buy that fire blanket that they advertise on Instagram.
I just saw that.
It is
that-
it
is
is a
that an
good
effective
tool
way
to
of-
have.
Is that an effective way of putting a fire out?
It
or
is.
a fire
It's just a
extinguisher-
different way of doing it, but it's a trend that is taking off, and by all means, is it a safe and practical use? It's just a different way of smothering and putting out the fire.
Do you got another question?
Yes, so the two major things here as far as recommendations are obviously having a fire extinguisher readily available for you, whether it's mounting it, you know, in visible sight, or having it in a spot where you know it's going to be when you need it. And secondly, having the smoke detectors installed. You know, there's times where we have tenants or property owners fall asleep on the couch and forget that they were cooking something, and waking up to smoke bank down to their head, and not having that smoke detector in place to alert them that there's an issue in their house.
Anything else from the press? Okay.
All right.
And council, you had all your questions answered at this point? Okay, anybody from the public? All right, thank you, Chief. Really
thank you.
appreciate it. All right, and then, Captain? Chief?
Good evening, Council, Mayor. Thanks for this time this evening. If there is one thing I do like to do, it's talk about the police department.
Good.
I'm going to start here with the officers, a little bit of a breakdown of just some demographics of our police department, move into a little bit of the training that we do and the direction of that training over the last 2 years, and then we'll just finish up with an incident and what that sort of looked like and what you just got a picture of. So up on the screen right now is we currently have 40 officers. The total complement of the Lebanon City Police Department is 41. We had 41 up to about 2 weeks ago. We lost an officer that decided to go to a different department. But the last time we had 40 officers consistently was back in 2016. In 2024, we did have 41 officers. The last time we seen that was in 2015. The patrol division operates with 4 patrol platoons. There's 28 personnel assigned. There's a lieutenant of patrol. There are 3 sergeants, 4 patrolmen first class, and 20 officers, 7 per platoon. That's what we're trying to achieve right now. There is not a sergeant on each shift. There is a sergeant on 3 shifts. There is 4 patrolmen first class. When a sergeant isn't working, a patrolman first class takes over OIC responsibilities. We'll move on to the detective division. There is 6 personnel assigned to the detective division, 1 lieutenant of detectives, and there's 5 detectives. 2 of them detectives are not assigned to the Lebanon City Police Department. One is assigned to the DEA in Harrisburg, and one is assigned to the Lebanon County Drug Task Force. The DEA assignment happened in 2023. It is some great federal resources that it brings to the city and the county. It has shown so far that it is a great asset. You just don't hear much about it because it's the DEA, and a lot of that information is kept in-house. Support services is the division takes care of our cars, our uniforms, every other little thing. There's 3 personnel assigned. We assign the cadets in the academy to there just because we have to put them somewhere, and that's where they've always gone. Administrative division, we have 7 personnel assigned. It's myself, the captain of police, and there's 5 support staff, which would be secretaries, clerks, and the people that work in the evidence room. Here we go. I want to make a little bit of a connection here, but where all our officers come from. I think it's important. There were 14 officers that were born in Lebanon County that currently work on the force. 34 of them were born in Pennsylvania. I'll touch on, we have 4 officers from outside the state: Colorado, California, DC, and New York. Just brings a little bit, people come to Lebanon. And I have 2 officers, one is Russian and one is Greek. Of all my officers, 18 of them graduated from Lebanon County schools. 4 of them from Lebanon High, 8 of them from Cedar Crest, 4 of them from other Lebanon County schools, and 2 were homeschooled. I think it just gives a great snapshot of Lebanon City police officers, and that they're from this community. They're part of it. Of the 40 officers, 27 of them attended college. 9 of them served in the military, and 4 of them are just from the general workforce. Of the 27 officers that had attended college, 15 of them have criminal justice degrees. Every branch of the armed services is represented in my police department, except for the United States Navy. I do have some Marines, so depending how you look at where they come from, I guess they get their paycheck from the Navy, but they won't say they're in the Navy. So. That was just a quick look at, where all my police officers come from and what they've done in the past, and sort of a good look at them. I don't think you get that very often, and it's important to me to know my officers and their backgrounds. This slide represents how long have we been here? How long have all these officers, my 40 of them, been at the Lebanon City Police Department? And that 0 to 4 years is quite an impressive line.
Yep.
The 5 to 9, the 15 to 19, the 20 to 24, and so on and so on. But the most senior officer I have on my police department has been here 37 years. He's due to retire December 31st of 2024. He was actually hired September 9th of 1985. So to put 37 years in at the police department is a wealth of knowledge that I'm going to be losing. The lowest in that 0 to 4 years is I have some officers that are here 6 months, the 2 that are assigned to support services and are in the academy. The 0 to 4 years of service, I'm just pointing that out, actually 88% of that 0 to 4 line, 88% of them are here 3 or less years. They've just been grouped into that 0 to 4 year thing. 88% have been at the Lebanon City Police Department less than 4 years. The 5 to 9 year thing there, that's where I'm looking for my emerging leaders. And as you can see on this slide, it's the shortest. 5 to 9 years typically on the police job is where you get your feet underneath you and you can see where your career is going, at least in my perspective. To me, there is no substitute for experience on the street. That's what you need to be a good, well-rounded police officer, is experience on the street. This next slide here is how we've accomplished improving on that years of experience on the street. I have 10 officers with 0 to 4 years experience. That's all they came here with. But I have added to that 5 to 9 years of experience by hiring 2 officers that had experience before they came here. I've increased the 10 to 14 year of experience by hiring somebody that had prior experience also before getting here, that increased their total years of experience into that time frame. In where we've gotten some of these other police departments, or other police officers from, or where we've been gaining our experience by recruiting officers from other police departments are, I have police officers from all over: Mount Carmel, Susquehanna, Steelton, New Cumberland, the Capitol Police, SEPTA, Baltimore City, and Ocean City, Maryland, just to name a few of where Lebanon City police officers have gotten prior experience to coming here. In these last 2 slides, fill in the ranks and how long people have been here. We all believe that there's a shortage of police officers nationwide. We hear that all the time, that we can't find police officers. At this moment, I think we have closed that gap. Mm-hmm. We're not in the search or a great need that we're low on officers. The biggest challenge is to prepare them 0 to 4 or them 5 to 9 to be prepared to be leaders in this police department in the future. How we've been doing some of that. The FBI Law Enforcement Executive Development Association. Back in 2023, we sent 6 people, mid-level supervisors, to that training. It was the basic level first step in that training process to prepare some of these inexperienced supervisors. Part of that training is deliberate indifference, failures to supervise, failure to discipline, failure to investigate, and failure to train. It touches on them topics. This year in 2024, I have 2 new supervisors that will attend the basic supervisor liability training, and I have 4 current supervisors that will attend the advanced supervisory liability training. It is not the same people. Some of the people that attended the first one were moved out of supervisory roles. If they find their way back into them positions, we'll continue on with that. A great thing that has made that training possible is the James Beaver Police Community Alliance. We have partnered with them at numerous community events. They pay for that training through the FBI. It is a great community organization that we've partnered with for the last 2 years, and it seems to be reaping some great benefits for the community and the police department. Just to touch on some other training, moving down there, the Municipal Police Officers Education and Training Commission. That's if you ever hear MOPEC around police officers or you hear Act 120, that's where we maintain our certification to be a police officer. It's mandatory training. It's what we have to do every year. In 2024, it was legal updates, suicide by cop. I have highlighted community relations and law enforcement ethics. In 2023, it was legal updates, tactical communications that I have highlighted, and criminal investigations and officer wellness. The reason I have them 2 items highlighted is because we're going to talk about them a little bit in the future here. I believe the next slide about what they really mean and what they brought to the table for officers. Also is the 2024, the trauma sensitive certification, and I also have highlighted there the critical incident stress management, or CISM. We all heard that catchphrase, tactical communications. It's not what it sounds. I'll go over this and then I'll break it down a little bit further. This 2023 MOPEC training, Tactical Communications, helped officers recognize and identify components of a crisis event. Lessons focused on officers' responses that helped them initiate safe resolution and de-escalation of aggressive actions, as well as communication methods and techniques which have proven effective in bringing a crisis event to a safe conclusion through voluntary compliance. And this 2024 MOPEC training, Community Relations, focused on the importance of building and maintaining trusted relationships with the communities police officers serve and protect. The course reviewed how to strengthen awareness regarding cultural diversity, competency, and sensitivity within various communities, and to recognize trauma's impact on members of the community and the importance of applying a trauma-informed approach. So we know tactical communications isn't car 1 to car 2, or it isn't 10-4 on the 10-16. That isn't what they're gauging there, that it moved on from that. And I'm going to give an example of both of these. And it happened earlier this year, right around the State of the City address. We had an incident at 9th and Chestnut Street. And I know at State of the City address, everybody wanted to know what went on there. And the response was the same. I'll say that for the police department. Our response to that scene was the same, and that's what caught everybody's attention. But it was an alternative approach that ended that. And some people weren't ready for that, I don't think, or they didn't expect it. In my words, an alternative approach of incidents don't they don't end with this picture-taking moment. We resolve them through de-escalation and safe resolution. That's how we end them. The way that incident ended was safer for the police, it was safer for the community, and it was definitely safer for the person that ended up getting arrested there. So that's a good look at that training and a good look at an example of how we applied both of them that day and had a good resolution to something that could have really been a terrible incident. When we talk about a trauma-informed approach, we realize the widespread impact of trauma and understand potential paths for recovery. We recognize the signs, symptoms of trauma in clients, family, and staff, my staff included, and other city staff. This relates to what I talked about earlier, the CISM and the critical incident stress management. And response by fully integrating knowledge about trauma into policies, procedures, and practices. And the most important thing there to remember when we're dealing with the public, what seems to have been a hiccup for years is when we need to talk to a victim that we don't re-traumatize them. We have training and we have policy and we have procedures in place that doesn't happen. What that adds is a timeline to events. People want answers right away, but we have other resources that interview people that we don't have the answers right away because we take that approach. I'll add one more thing about the trauma-sensitive training or certification that we got. We had one officer that went through that this year. He's just about ready to graduate. But it was a great partnership that I don't think we've ever done. It was with the Community Health Council, it was with SARC, and it was with DVI. And them three organizations and the police department partnered together to go through this training so we're all on the same page when we recognize people that have been traumatized or we have certain situations that we're going to approach like that. And I'll sum it up. I appreciate you paying attention as I rambled on here, but I do enjoy talking about the Lebanon City Police Department and all the officers I have. We have made substantial leaps forward in manning the police department and filling the ranks and finding the right people to be here. And I look forward to seeing them get past that 0 to 4 years and move into their 5 to 9 and develop some leadership qualities and lead the Lebanon City Police Department. Also, the new initiatives that we're taking there with our training with a trauma-informed approach or the tactical communications, if we use that phrase, just how that has got implemented into the Lebanon City Police Department. And that's pretty much training. Every training we touch on anymore, part of that block of training will be them two approaches. It's just, it's just police-wide. That's what they expect us to be. And then I'll end here with that is LPD's investment in a community conversation. There's more than 50 bullet points in that thing that we've put out there as a community conversation. I've maybe touched on 3, but we're working hard at the other 47. We get to them every day, and I'll close with that. But thank you.
And that was our commitment to our public, to our community, and the chief's doing an excellent job in moving us forward and keeping us on track with those. And I just want to quickly say that I'm very proud of both of my chiefs. I think they're doing a tremendous job and really moving us forward in so many different areas that we had these aspirations of things we wanted to do with increased training and the new areas of training and just being better departments. Not that we weren't good before. There's always room for improvement and in ourselves as well. And I think they're both doing a fantastic job.
Yeah, and just to echo that, I fully commend both of you for your work. Chief here with the with the getting the officer count close to full complement, I know that's incredible amount of work, and adding on the training, just all of that. Thank you so much. I see them, your guys out there doing their work and, reflecting on that or getting that reflection from citizens, they're doing a great job. So thank you for that. And also for your presentation.
Thank you.
So, I have a couple questions for you. Wrote them here somewhere. So I was just wondering if you could, it was interesting you said about the one detective that is assigned to DEA, and you said that brings in more resources from the feds, from the federal government. What exactly does that mean, if you could expand on that?
A good example would be if there is something that is taking place that he's investigating on any given day, there might be 5 to 10 federal agents from different departments that would be here in Lebanon City to work that. It brings additional manpower resources if there's a major investigation here. It just expands our capability to maybe go further up an investigative chain with more resources.
Okay. I found that really interesting. And then with the Crime Watch app, I was just wondering if, we've had that now for
Year and a half.
Year and a half. I was going to say, I don't think it's been 2 years yet. If you could just reflect on how that's working.
Yeah, I tried to stay away from that because I could talk about Crime Watch for probably twice as long. That is one of the things that has moved us forward the most, in my opinion. We still get tips daily. We get information daily. We get people's concerns, and we get to put our message out there, what the Lebanon City Police Department's doing, whether it's Trick or Treat Night, whether it's No Shave November, which is the picture there on the bottom center, which is coming up, and I'll put a plug in there. We do a fundraiser for the Cancer Center. I let all my officers forego shaving for the month, which they enjoy, but they have to donate a certain, I believe it's $50 a piece, but they gladly do it. And it's a good cause. It's not just to get out of the shaving, but you can see that the Cancer Center appreciated it, and we had a great time out there with them folks. But Crime Watch has definitely moved us forward. I'll touch on how we always think that all these people are from Lebanon County and these crimes occur in Lebanon County, and we don't, you don't know, but you wouldn't believe the amount of contact we have with like Lancaster County departments or Dauphin County departments that are like, well, hey, we know him. He's been here, and that's where he's from, or that's where he goes after he leaves Lebanon County. And it's getting further and further. An update on the assault that took place at the downtown lounge. Last week I had to send 2 officers to Chicago to pick that person up and bring him back. They got to Chicago. But I'm glad we went out to Chicago. We brought them back here, and they'll be judged here. So great tool for us.
So you're saying public communication has improved, but also the departments, through the use of this app, departments all over the country has also improved through this app.
Yeah, other police departments, lost for the word enroll or subscribe to our Crime Watch page. We subscribe to other ones. It's just this information exchange that seems to work.
Okay. I'm not sure that I knew that, so that's really interesting. And also great that they
It's
caught
also
that.
a recruitment tool.
Yeah.
People look at our Crime Watch page, potential applicants, to see what we're all about, to see what we're doing, to see what for crimes we investigate, to see the officers that are here, the bike, the cars, whatever. They look at that. It's a great tool.
And look at the fun things that we do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's it for me then, so I'll open it up to council if you guys have any questions. And we lost Joe. He's driving through the mountains of California right now, so he's no longer on the line, but
Chief, relative to the training, are the officers going to a brick and mortar facility outside of Lebanon? Is this online certification?
That was-
Or
Yeah.
a mix of all the above?
That was one of the driving factors to go to that FBI ILETA training. It is virtual. They do it on the internet. They do it while they're working, whether it's night shift or it's day shift. But by no means is it training that you just sit there and click through. There's engagement. There's assignments that are due. There's papers that are due. It is a commitment to them that they have to finish certain things by a certain time. There's 4 levels to that at the moment. I'm lost for the 2 after basic and advanced. There's another 2, but I can see the benefits of it. I can see how it engages them and makes them think more like a supervisor than just, a sergeant or a PFC, what that really entails.
Thank you. Anything else from council? Okay, from the press?
Chief, how many patrol officers are on the street in each of the 3 daily shifts?
We don't have 3 daily shifts. We work 12-hour shifts.
Oh, okay.
So on a daily basis, anywhere from, which we hope would be 7 assigned to a shift, to down to 5 if others are off.
Okay,
Okay.
so 2 12-hour shifts daily.
Yep, 2 12-hour shifts daily. Yeah.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, from the public? All right, thank you, chief, appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to communications. First, we have a communication from the PA Auditor General, Timothy DeFore, transmitting the compliance audit of the City of Lebanon non-uniform pension plan for a period January 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2023. And Mayor, if you could fill us in on what this is.
Sure. So this plan participates in the Pennsylvania Municipal Retirement System, or PMRS, which is a statewide employee retirement system that acts as a common investment and administrative agent. The results of this audit is that the plan was administered in compliance with all state laws, regulations, contracts, administrative procedures, local ordinances, and policies. They also noted that incorrect data on a certification form, the last audit, was corrected and the city was reimbursed. This particular plan is overfunded. It's the only one out of the 3 that is overfunded. It was established in February of '64. The active members are required to contribute 5% of compensation to the plan. And as of December 31, 2020, and this is because of the state being slightly behind in information, the plan had 25 active members, 3 terminated members eligible for vested benefits in the future, and 44 retirees receiving pension benefits. The plan, as of 1/1/23, had $13.567 million in assets, and it's 135% funded.
Okay, thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome.
Any questions from council regarding this item? Okay, from the press? And anyone from the public? All right, moving on to the next communication. This is also from the PA Auditor General, Timothy DeFore, transmitting the compliance audit of the City of Lebanon paid fireman's pension plan for the period January 1st, 2021, and through December 31st, 2023. And Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. The results of the state audit is that the plan was administered in compliance with all state laws, regulations, contracts, administrative procedures, local ordinances, and policies. This particular plan was established in January of 1961. Active members are required to contribute 5% of base salary to the plan. And as of December 31st, 2023, the plan had 19 active members, no terminated members eligible for vested benefits in the future, and there were 26 retirees receiving pension benefits. The plan, as of 1/1/23, had a little over $9 million, and it's not quite 87% funded.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor. Do I have any questions from council? And press? And public regarding this item? All right, and then our next communication, also from PA Auditor General Timothy DeFord, transmitting the compliance audit of the City of Lebanon Police Pension Plan for the period January 1st, 2021 through December 31st, 2023. So, Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Vice Chair. Sorry, gave you a promotion. The results of the state audit is that the plan was administered in compliance with all state laws, regulations, contracts, administrative procedures, local ordinances, and policies. This is our oldest pension plan. It was established in January of 1932. Active members are required to contribute 5% of base salary to the plan, and as of December 31, 2023, the plan had 32 active members, 4 terminated members eligible for vested benefits in the future, and 51 retirees receiving pension benefits. As of 1/1/23, the plan had a little over $24 million, and it is 89% funded.
Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome.
It's great to hear these plans seem to be in good health and that there's no findings. So, any questions from council?
One more note, if you add all 3 plans together, which is what they do when they're looking at whether or not your pension plans are distressed, when we put all 3 plans together, they are not distressed.
Good to hear. And council, any questions? Okay. Press and anybody in attendance. Okay. And then the final communication, communicating the Director of Administration Assistant to the Mayor, Melissa Canones, transmitting the notice of 2025 minimum municipal pension plan contributions. The police at $1,037,812, fire at $398,491, and non-uniformed at 0. And Mayor, if you could expand on that for us.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. In order to ensure that employer pension plans are sufficiently funded, an actuarial valuation is conducted, and an amount is calculated that represents the minimum amount needed to be contributed into the fund by the employer. The amounts that you just read, Mr. Vice Chair, are what the city needs to add into the pension plans so that they have the minimum funded needed to keep them in a good financial account.
Okay.
Lack of a better word.
Any questions from
No, I just
council?
have how are these numbers compared to previous years as far as like the city's requirement?
Sure. So in 2023, for police, it was 947,755. For fire, it was 423,613. And the non-uniform was 0.
So increases, but seemed manageable.
Kind
They-
of like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of washed.
Yeah. Any other questions from council? And from the press? And anybody in attendance regarding this? All right, hearing none. Moving on to resolutions, our first resolution is a resolution authorizing the mayor to be designated and directed to sign any and all agreements entered into the Commonwealth of with the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania Department of Transportation as it relates to Cornwall Road and Orange Street intersection improvement project. And Mayor, if you could give us a rundown of what this is.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. As part of the land development process for the new Lebanon Intermediate Middle School, a traffic signal is warranted at Cornwall Road and Orange Street. The city did not believe that we should be responsible to foot that bill due to the school district's decision to build an entire new school on the site of an existing school, adding 2 additional grades to the complex. The city negotiated with the district, which agreed to pay for the engineering for the signal. The Lebanon County MPO, in particular John Fitzke, who is a wonderful individual, assisted the city with obtaining U.S. Department of Transportation Federal Highway Administration funds, namely Surface Transportation Program, or STP. That's flexible funding, it's discretionary funding, it's 100% reimbursable for construction work. Because the city will let the project manage and pay, the city needs a reimbursement agreement with PennDOT. This is standard operating procedure per se. And just right before this meeting, I did get, and I actually left your copies on the copier. I did get new figures. Actually, that's for the next one, so I apologize. So this, we don't have a reimbursement agreement from PennDOT yet. So what I am asking for tonight, this resolution actually authorizes the mayor to execute the documents. Once I get the reimbursement agreement from PennDOT, I will inform you of what that amount is, so that you're aware of what the reimbursement, the pass-through will be from the city. I think the most important item to note is that it's being 100% reimbursed by the feds and state, and the city will not be out any money.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Our last estimate is from 2 years ago. At that time, it was $172,500. I'm assuming they're working on updating those costs, which is part of the reason why they want to try to get this reimbursement agreement process so they can finalize that and get it to us.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, this, it's brought on quickly. So if you know, when you get that, make council aware, that would be great, so.
Yes.
I know this isn't directly relating to, I mean, it's relating to the project, but not the agreement or funding or such. But it was just something that I thought of as I was driving through that area earlier today. With the traffic light, I was curious if there was going to be any changes with the continuation of 8th Street up to the high school entrance. If a light is placed there, if people would be trying to dodge and then there would be an increased amount of traffic by the front of the high school, I would personally feel that that could be a potential issue. So I don't know if, as you
Well,
communicate with
I don't know
PennDOT.
about you, but if there was a traffic signal there, that's one traffic signal I would want to use, just like at,
I
up at
agree.
Wilhelm, you know, the new,
Oh, it's incredible.
I take
The-
it sometimes just because I really like it.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm so happy with it. Like, it's amazing. And I
Which
suspect that will be the case here.
I also suspect that just from getting out into Cornwall, as you know, anecdotally, since I've lived on Cornwall Road over the last 6 years, traffic has gotten significantly more difficult to pull out from any of the side streets. But it was just a thought that I had. Just, you know, that potential could, you know, be an issue. But anyway,
Chad, was that discussed at all at any of the planning commission meetings?
There was a brief discussion about a possible pedestrian signal being put in Hawk Street.
I think that that's all that I have regarding that resolution. Does council have any other questions or thoughts so far?
Do you know when, do you even have an estimate of when they're going to start?
No. I know they want to keep fast-tracking it because of the school being open, which I think is why this kind of came together in the last week or two here, and why we actually don't have the written reimbursement agreement, but, and I think there may have been a slight policy change in PennDOT in that they like to have the resolution approved prior to, of course, signing the reimbursement agreement, which in the past, they allowed you to sign it and follow up with a resolution, but now they're asking for it first.
Yeah, and I believe that I remember that being the other way around at previous projects. So, anyway, so no questions from council regarding this so far. Press.
So Mayor, so the traffic light that's coming up at Cornwall Road and Orange Street, some of the money is going to come from the school district. Did I hear that correctly?
So the school district paid for engineering.
Okay. And then as far as, it sounds like as far as actually installing this light, the city's going to front the money, so to speak, and get reimbursed by PennDOT eventually. So when all is said and done, there's no net outlay on the part of the city for the light.
That's correct.
Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Anyone else from the press? And anyone in attendance? All right, our second resolution. Oh, yes. Who would like to introduce that resolution? Sean? Okay, thank you. Thank you, Cheryl. Keeping me straight. All right, moving on to our second resolution for the night. Authorizing the mayor to be designated and directed to sign any and all agreements entered into with the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania Department of Transportation as it relates to the North Lincoln Avenue Bridge over the Quittapahilla Creek project. And Mayor, if you could expand on that for us.
Okay, so actually, City Council entered into an agreement with PennDOT back in January of '21 for a reimbursement agreement. This project actually has been under review, the planning process, since 2012. It was put on PennDOT's transportation improvement plan, and they've been designing it, doing environmental and hazardous conditions, impact and testing and all of that, and we're moving into the final design of it, and they want to get a time extension to get the project through to construction, and the current let date for construction would be January 15th of 2026. They don't have a good estimate for utilities and right-of-way yet, which the city wouldn't be responsible for that. We're responsible for 5% of preliminary engineering, final design, and construction, which right now, as of today, they're stating would be $120,975. Now, this bridge, the Lincoln Avenue Bridge, which is just north of Cumberland Street, it's the bridge over the Quitty. Several years ago, it got downgraded, and we had to put the barriers up so that people wouldn't drive over the decking, and it kind of narrowed it. This will be to replace that whole bridge and open it back up and increase the weight load again. The total contract price as of today, they're estimating to be $2,419,500. The city is 100% responsible for this bridge. This is a city bridge. So if we would not have the money coming from the federal government, federal highway, and the state, we would be responsible for that entire amount. But because, and we're very grateful for this, it looks like it'll be, like I said, around $121,000. Preliminary engineering is shown to be $25,725, final design $20,250, and construction $75,000 for the city. That's what makes up that total. The feds are paying 80%, the state's paying 15%, and again, the city 5%. So this mainly is to, again, update for extending the contract to get us through construction. It's also updating, I think there were some language changes because on the other contract and this one, they're giving us new forms for Federal Funding Accountability and Transparency Act and lobbying disclosures. I think that's it.
Okay, thank you. I know we've been talking about this project being right around the corner ever since I've been involved in council, so it's good to hear, furthering this project along. I believe in our previous conversations over the years, this is one of our more deteriorated bridge structures, so
Yeah, this
it'll
one
be
in
good.
3rd Street.
It'd be good to have that weight limit increased again. I don't think that I have any questions. Council, do you have any questions at this time? And from the press?
So,
Chris?
Mayor, just so I understand, the city will end up, when all is said and done, paying 5% of the cost of redoing this bridge. And the current estimate is 2.419 million or something. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. And anybody else in the press? Okay. And anybody attending tonight's meeting? All right. Who would like to take this resolution?
I'll take it. I'll take it.
Karen? Thank you, Karen. All right, and then moving on, we have an ordinance from Monday night. This is Bill number 4, and I believe final reading. It's for amending the City of Lebanon paid fireman's pension plan for the purpose of amending sections regarding the normal retirement, cost of living adjustments for former employees, and deferred retirement option plan. And Sherry, if you could fill us in on this.
So as I indicated earlier, the city received an arbitration award that provided the paid firefighters an opportunity to retire at any age with 20 years of service. Additionally, if a firefighter enters the DROP, the Deferred Retirement Option Program, he or she cannot receive a COLA. These items required the fire pension plan document to be amended to address for those changes. The city received the amendment about a month ago from the actuary who actually prepared that amendment. And so what is before you again on final read is basically the revisions to the paid firefighters pension plan document because of changes that were brought forth due to an arbitration award.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And are there any questions from council regarding this ordinance on final reading? Okay, and from the press? And anybody in attendance on this ordinance? All right. That takes our official agenda, finalizes that for tonight. We have remarks tonight from Shahikar Patel regarding property at 1400 Chestnut Street. So if you could come up and, yeah, I have, so for our public comments, we have a 3-minute, as you are aware of.
No worries.
And, yeah, just go ahead.
Thank you, council, for having me. I'm here before you to address some concerns that I have with my property at 1400 Chestnut Street regarding the arson event that occurred 2 years ago. So just a little bit of background. On June 29, 2022, I'd emailed Glenn, the city chief, and the city mayor to say that, hey, I'll be there next week to board up the building. I had bought the building about a month before that, so I didn't really have much time with it. It was left in a bad condition to me. I wasn't really aware. It wasn't even disclosed at sale, really. So that weekend after I wrote that email, there was a fire there, right? So it was a bad fire. The city and the chief did a great job of extinguishing that fire. They brought it under control, but they hired Complete Restoration to board up the building, okay? So I just said a couple days earlier that I will board up the building. And July 5th, I emailed him and said, hey, thank you for taking care of the fire. I'll be there tomorrow or right after July 4th to board up the building. So literally the morning after the fire happened. So when they completed their work, they didn't complete the work, we completed the work. When we got on site, we basically said, hey, we'll take it from here, and they're okay with that. They gave us an invoice of $29,500 to board up the building. And this was done with contract labor, people that we use for drywall in our other buildings. We know what we pay these people. We know they're $30 an hour. We know there's a markup for those kind of things, but the egregious markup that they put is kind of unheard of from our point of view. So, they give us a bill, it's one line. It's not a bill at that point, it's a ransom. Say, here, pay this amount, or we're gonna put a lien on your property. So I found that to be very unfair. And basically, the way they justified the lien on the property is they said, hey, you violated the IPMC, the property code that you guys have all adopted. In that, you are required to tell the owner of the property that, hey, you gotta fix this. And if you don't, then you guys have all the right in the world to go ahead and fix it yourself, right? So they said that, hey, we made several attempts to contact Destiny Builders and Management. That is not the case. Nobody ever contacted us about that. The only contact there was me reaching out to the then fire chief, Dwayne Troutman, saying, hey, we will be there and we will board up the building. So, you know, as a property owner, we pay our taxes, we try to keep care of the property, we try to keep people out of it. I just find that to be very unfair. And, you know, that money could have been used for other things. Right now, we put cameras on the property, we have lights on the property, and those have done more to keep that property secure and people out, and even, you know, cite people for doing that. So I think that has worked out much better. So the couple of things that I had for the council was that, is the city still using complete restoration for work? And why could you justify that, given that they don't give any accountability in their billing? They gouge on pricing for labor and material. Do you guys agree with the standards that were taken? And is this the standard that's gonna be used in the future? And then lastly, you know, I'm always available to talk. You know, I don't have contact information for a lot of people. And you know, this is only 3 minutes and I get why. So I have my contact information at the bottom, and you know, love for somebody to reach out and talk to me about this and other issues that I may have going forward, because we're trying to do good there. You know, interest rates are finally coming down, and we think we have an exciting project coming up for next year. And you know, everybody knows the housing shortage, and we're all trying to do something about it. So that's what I had to say today.
I really appreciate you coming out tonight and bringing your comments. At this time, council will take your information into consideration. I would recommend reaching out directly to the mayor through her email for further conversation.
Those aren't returned.
You have never emailed me,
I can send all the emails.
okay?
If you want me to forward to city council, I can forward it to city council.
We can
last
do
email-
that.
last email
Tonight,
basically says that,
tonight
"Hey,
we're
let's
not
talk
going
about
to
this."
go into a
That's fine.
back and forth conversation, but let's continue this through those avenues. So I thank you for coming out tonight and bringing this to us. So,
Okay, thank you guys.
thank you, sir.
Cal, can I talk to you then?
And that brings us to a conclusion for tonight's agenda. So at this time, I'm going to close out our meeting, and unless council has anything else that they would like to bring to the floor at this time. Okay. Sherry, anything from the mayor's office? Okay. And anybody else from the public have any concerns to address with the city? All right. We'll see you guys Monday night. Thank you.